Empire are definitely not satisfied to see how this early game has gone for them.
I would say they're quite lucky that they did not get a single golem in this medium camp stack. Every single one. Centaurs and the like. So Tiny's going to be happy with that, at least that small bit of luck, but it's still Vici Gaming.
Oh, they got to be careful about going for this rune.
Yeah, Super's here. Hookshot already being laid down. They're going to try and pop Aloha Dance immediately. The Cogs push back, but Aloha Dance still gets enough time to pop the wand. And there comes the Queen of Pain, blowing up the clockwork. And now with the extra damage, they'll kick out the Dragonite as well. 2-for-1 trade-off with the Wisp going down. Well worth it for Team Empire.
Yeah, I actually thought that was going to go poorly for Empire, but every single person rotates for that rune. They spot the danger that's imminent and silent, wasting no time to blow that ultimate. Completely worth it because, one, you slow down the Dragon Knight pretty significantly because a lot of his gold was just built off the kills, right? And for him to die right there, he only has 30 CS at 10 minutes, so he was doing okay, but Empire getting that killing spree on the resolution is pretty significant because now he's got drums completed, and now he's got some stats and mobility, and so despite him starting 0-2, now he's 2-2, and you can finally see him start to catch up.
So they go back to farm up the jungle. And this also means, well, I was going to say that middle lane is open for someone else to take, but Empire are going to continue to be aggressive. They go into Hal with the relocate in as well. Double Fisher, stun, and the Echo Slam on top. They're going to lock down FY and try and finish off as well. But Super comes in, nice shallow grave in order to save Aloha Dance. And FY does die in the end, and it seems like Empire will be able to get away scot-free. Super still looking to be able to chase down somebody. Resolution, yeah, he wants to fight this one. He's got a combination in second. Long range stun gets laid out. Now as Fisher comes out on top of the combination for the Tiny. Super almost dies. A hook shot in. Super finally going to take out from Silent. Silent now needs to make a blink away. He will have that up now. So Tiny dies, but they get Super in the end. Empire's still very low, but between the heals of the Wisp as well as the Dazzle, they'll get back up to a decent amount of HP, but no more opportunities to continue and fight. Team Empire still happy with the way those battles are going.
Oh, for sure. The gold change, I mean, they got 1,000 off of that. It was well worth it. They managed to pick off Hao at the same time. It's just good rotations, good rotational play by Empire, and Vici had the lead early on, but they have to respect that combination. The relocate coming in, they didn't even care that they landed in the middle of the call down. Like, they're still willing to just blow up Hao and then take the advantage from there on out.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if the stuns are already there, like the Fisher, the slow doesn't mean much to the Tiny Wisp, and the damage, honestly, doesn't mean much either when the Wisp is able to just instantly heal you up and kind of refresh some of that mana as well. So the Tiny has definitely made a great recovery, now sitting above both Super and Hao. And then you have Silence, Queen of Pain topping out the board at 5K. Is going to be going for a Eul Scepter first, so no Orchid that we were talking about earlier. You didn't really want to see that item. Do you agree with Eul Scepter?
Yeah, that was the item I told her. I was like, you should get a Eul's. Like, you get a Eul's, a BKB, or an Axe. Eul's is the safest for the early game, because if you look at Vici Gaming's lineup, they've got the Rubik to initiate on you, but more importantly than that, it's the Crystal Maiden Frostbite that typically gets you killed.
Yeah.
But if you can just Eul's dodge it, wait for the animation to end, there's nothing that'll instantly disable you from Vici Gaming unless Ice 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 times the Clockwork Hook perfectly. But at top, they should be really careful right now as Resolution, if he gets initiated on, Aloha Dance actually looks like he wants to be the target, and Ice 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 is coming in hot.
Yeah, they know if they go on Resolution, there's going to be a relocate save. So they sneak around behind and try and go for Aloha Dance first. Great setup from Ice, managing to land that hook shot beautifully. Oh, the damage there. Those two supports. If they had actually gotten a double kill on that, that would have been a very impressive turn. But FY will live. Fenrir also going to be just fine. So great pickoff there for Vici Gaming. Not going to be laying down to Empire's aggression. They respond with a smoke ink of their own.
Yeah, and I really like that Vici Gaming seems so willing to bring Hao to fights. I think this is actually a little bit different than most of the teams that we see. Is most teams just like to farm up their one position, let him use the jungle as much as you can, but Hao seems to be participating non-stop in fights. Like, we saw him in the 8-minute gank, we see it again. They're willing to bring him to the ganks because they realize their support duo without him is actually quite weak. Like, they've got a Rubik and a Crystal Maiden that don't independently do too much damage, and so bringing Hao along, you have some lockdown, you get the Rocket Barrage off. It's almost always a kill when they see it coming.
Silent, that Eul Scepter is coming in fast. He's going to farm up the rest of these neutrals and will be able to pick that one up. Super, meanwhile, is he going to be going for an early BKB here, or is this the Sage? What about the Glimmer Cape build that was quite popular in China and actually made it over to the Western scene as well, where you would go Glimmer Cape and then break it apart for the Shadow Blade? Is this just not a Shadow Blade game?
I think that it's not a Shadow Blade game. I think that going for if you're going to get the Shadow Blade, you would have done it first. But I think going for BKB here is a really safe option. Because if you're taking a look at Empire's damage, most of it is magic damage. The only source of physical damage is from the Tiny, who typically isn't going to be able to get the Aghanims as a first or second. Like, he's not going to be able to get it until after the drums minimum.
Right.
And if you take a look at the Queen of Pain, yes, the ultimate goes through, but if that's your only source of damage that pierces through the BKB, you're perfectly satisfied with that.
A 3-man smoke for Team Empire, but really it's a 5-man smoke. They have the relocate available. If Team Empire run into somebody from Vici Gaming in the jungle, they will immediately relocate in order to finish that hero off, but it seems much more likely we're going to have full-on team fight here. Ice 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 and Fenrir seem to be the first potential targets they're going to run into, but both of them are hiding in the trees in these hidden little spots. It seems like both are prepared for some potential action. Super does manage to take that Tier 1 tower, and Vici Gaming are still making sure they stay very grouped up. It seems pretty obvious they know what's going on. Resolution will be able to get the Tier 1 tower at the top lane at the same time, so while we're having this sort of standoff, both teams were able to take a tower. It's just up to Empire, I guess, if they really want to force it here.
The issue is that Empire knows that they have a ward there, but it looks like it doesn't matter as they are going to run into each other.
Oh, Ice 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 managed to snag out Always Want to Fly. He's going to be in some serious trouble. The relocate's still going to come in. They managed to find Hell and pop him immediately. FY responds with a toss on a Resolution, which almost kills him. But now with a little bit of heal up from the wand, Resolution seems to be staying alive. Now they jump over the tether, and they will relocate back up. Both Yoki as well as the Queen of Pain will be able to run themselves away as well. So despite the fact that it was kind of an awkward way to start that fight, it actually turned out quite well with the relocate being on the money. Aloha Dance jumping immediately into that neutral camp meant that they had quick access to Hao. Now Super comes forward, trying to challenge Resolution alongside Fenrir, but they don't have the catch just yet.
The thing is about Empire's lineups always is that there's some form of them having
Ice.
early game.
Nope, never mind. He's going to be good. There's no way they can actually get to him. So, good TP out. He's been very good about keeping TPs because he knows there's a little bit of a lack of stuns because he's been facing up against a Dazzle and Queen of Pain constantly.
I think Silent had the Yules up, though. I'm not sure. Maybe it was on CD. But I didn't see him use it, but it might just be my mistake. But as I was saying, it's really tough to fight Empire in the mid-game because their drafts are so oriented around having almost 3 supports rather than the 3 cores that we typically see.
Right.
Like they pick Resolution or Silent, often really hard 1 positions, and somebody has to lose out on farm, right? And that person is almost always going to be their offlaner. Like every single time he plays the Axe, the Clockwork, the Sand King, the Earthshaker, some sort of initiation role. And so
yeah, Clockwork doesn't need much farm, and then Sand King as well as Earthshaker only really need Blink Dagger, so they operate kind of fine without too much farm.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's almost like Empire have 3 supports, just 1 super greedy supports. It's like they have 2-4 players, and in the mid game that helps so much when it comes to team fights because you only need that 1 item to really make an effective difference.
And it's funny because those heroes, especially the Earthshaker, I think, like you can still have a very large impact as an Earthshaker with just a Blink Dagger, even if it is quite late game. So it still works out that even if Empire do get late, you don't really feel that 3 supports lost too much. It's not like you feel like you're missing too much of a core. Now, they almost finish up the Aghanim Scepter for Resolution. Team Empire, do they curb their aggression at any point in time and try and finish up this Aghanim Scepter, or maybe even try and farm up an AC before they continue to go? Because I almost feel like it's a little bit of pressure is on Vici Gaming now to try and be the aggressors and try and take those Tier 2 towers with their push.
If you decide to go for dual BKBs like Vici are doing on their cores, and the Blade Mail, this is pretty much built so that you can win the early engagements. So it is kind of on Vici. The onus is on them to at least get a little bit more aggressive than they have been, especially since DK just isn't a flash farming core. Like, you do want to get aggressive, take towers. That's the point of the hero. Whereas Tiny, he's naturally going to build tanky because drums, treads, and Aghanim Scepter is just a ton of stats. And so he doesn't necessarily have to go for the BKB, especially because he has the Wisp backing him up. So it's less important for him to just straight up build into that BKB, meaning he'll transition into the late game a lot better and a lot stronger because his BKB timer will naturally be longer, right?
Right.
So for Vici to both go for BKBs early on, it does mean that by the 30-40 minute mark, those are going to be 5-second BKBs, and they won't nearly be as effective. So I think the onus is completely on Vici Gaming to at least get aggressive, and you're seeing that right now. Like, I think the smoke attempt is meant to pick one off and then go for Roche or something like that, but they'll be satisfied with the stack at the same time.
Yeah, I'm taking away that from the Tiny with Aghanim Scepter is going to be a good setup. Ice is sitting in the trees, ready to go, essentially, if anybody shows up. But in the meantime, they'll just be happy with that stack, as you said. Do they try and go Roshan? Is that one way to force it? It is a little dangerous, though, against a Tiny Wisp, right? Simply because they can just push out the side lanes real quickly and easily get a tier 2 trade-off.
I think if they had found like 2 picks or something, they would have, but at top, how's going to be the... okay, never mind. I think like, if you had a Medallion or some other heroes, but a Dragon Knight and a Gyrocopter that both go BKB probably aren't enough to accomplish that.
Just not enough physical damage yet from them.
There's no natural Medallion builder on their team at the same time. Like, Empire have the much easier way to go for the Roshan.
True. Speaking of that, Empire may want to Roche if they find a pick-off here. Silent has already run into Ice, but Yule Scepter, and that's about it. Silent blinks himself away. Still, though, they've bought some space. They see a couple of heroes. They probably presume Vici Gaming also try and group up after seeing something like that, and this will leave empty space for Resolution and a little hot dance to push out the bottom lane.
Yeah, they're just farming more efficiently because Vici Gaming are afraid to lose a fight at this point. And if you split up against a Tiny Wisp that have Ags, you're just asking to die. Or you don't want to pop your BKB charges early on because it delays any sort of death ball push that you want to do even further. And you can see that Empire preparing for that just with the way that Silent is building. He's going to go for the Aghanim Scepter second. And
oh, nice toss forward. Beautiful setup on Silent. That is creativity in action. The toss combinations at work, the instant stun followed up with the Dragonite, and now with the loss of the Queen of Pain, Empire are very unlikely to fight. I mean, you already said Vici Gaming are built to, with the double BKBs to try and force fights. Now, you already don't really